the fight or flight response, the whole stress response, is in response to threats to survival. And all our ancestors had that fight or flight response, because if they didn't become anybody's ancestors. Because you had to fight or flee in response to those real dangers. Most of the dangers we react to now are imagined dangers. Not being accepted by your peers, being judged, fear of making a mistake, fear of not being good enough, fear of, they all still trigger this distress in the system, but they're not really about something that's out there. They're about what's going on in there. Most of us are actually relating to a world that isn't out there. Which is why some people are perfectly fine with the same situation and others are totally freaked out about it. It's what they're doing inside that they're relating to. Most of us we're relating to our construct of the world and projecting it out there. It's just how it operates. In terms of relationships, it's probably 95% projection. We really aren't in relationship with the people we think we're in relationship with. We're in relationship with our stuff about them.
Yeah.
And if that stuff is causing you distress, you can flatten it out with this process. And an interesting thing about working with relationships, I have noticed, I have been in the human potential movement for 30 or so years, doing all kinds of workshops and seminars, from rebirthing to Bradshaw inner child workshops to all manner of personal growth workshops. And there's an amazing thing that happens, and that is when you work on an issue with somebody in your family during the workshop, very often, if you've made a shift to greater acceptance or love or forgiveness, what happens is, after the workshop, you'll get a sudden phone call or a letter or some interaction with a family member apologizing or asking for forgiveness or just deciding it's time to talk. When I say we're not separate, especially genetically, the people you are genetically connected to, when you do your inner growth work, you're doing it for them too. You make the space for them to change. That doesn't mean you should do it for them. Do it for you, but it makes the space for them to grow and to change and to come to a better relationship with you. Okay. I have my life, like many Americans, has a little too much going on. And sometimes when I sit down at my desk and the stacks are either really big or sloppy, and there's too many stacks, I used to get really anxious. And I probably had to tap on it over a period of 6 months, maybe 15 times. I'd sit down at the desk and I'd start thinking chocolate right away or something like that. I'd go, oh, it's the anxiety about too much going on, too many details, right? Because I'm an artist type, and handling details is not, at any rate, I don't get anxiety about it anymore, so I applied it to that. I know it can work for work stress. How many people are familiar with using affirmations, right? Affirmations they're useful, but they're limited in that when you say an affirmation like, I now have all the money I need to do everything I want, there's what Gary Craig calls tail enders, or I call the yes buts. Subconsciously, there's a little voice in there that goes, yeah, right. Right? And to the degree that yeah, right has some charge to it, you're not going to get there. That affirmation is kind of like, the words sound nice, but the emotional affect that follows it are taking you in a different direction. So you can use the EFT to flatten it out emotionally so that there's no charge to it, so that you can bring enthusiasm, the kind of positive charge you want to it, after you've taken the distress out. Or some practitioners like Carol Look, while taking the distress out. So Carol Look will do things like, she'll do a setup like, even though I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills and I'm totally freaked out about it, I deeply and completely accept myself and I choose to trust the universe to take care of me. So she'll add what they call choices onto it. I choose to trust more. And, you know, it could say, even though I'm totally freaked out and don't think I'll ever have enough money to pay my bills, I deeply and completely accept myself and I'm willing to find my way out of this mess. If that's as far as the best you can do, go there. Okay? And then she'll do alternate tapping, my freak out about I'll never pay my bills, the possibility that I could be there one day. Still freaked out about the bills. Maybe I'll find another source of income. Still freaked out about the bill. Well, I could take a class on investing. Still freaked out on the bills. You follow? Where you start to weave the positive possibilities in with this. Because what you're doing is you're taking your emotional system, your energetic nervous system to a level place so that the affirmations can start to put some roots down. Because when they start to put roots down and then the yeah buts are down there, the all yeah sure, they're just not going to take root. So it'll just be those affirmations that you do hoping to get better. So I want to encourage you, by the way, to make a commitment to spending 20 minutes a day for the next week or so. Making a list of stuff that you want to flatten out and giving 20 minutes a day to it. Two reasons for that. One, you'll get in the habit of using this and the points will become second nature. You don't think about them, you just know where they are, you just do them, okay? The other is, you're going to have a lot less distress in your life. Stuff does resolve. Tell another story about how I applied this. I sometimes get a little too enthusiastic for a friend of mine. I have a male friend who sometimes when I'm being too enthusiastic about stuff or too airy-fairy, he goes into this silent judging mode about me, right? And some years ago when I was rediscovering this, I went to visit him, and I was especially in my airy-fairy, bubbly place with him, and I saw his face kind of go, his jaw kind of tighten, and I said, oh, he's judging me again, you know. So I didn't stay with him a really long time, and I went home, and it just kept circulating in here, you know. So first I tapped on my anger at him for judging me, and then I saw that I was angry at me for it mattering. So I did a round on angry that it even matters to me. Anger that it even matters to me what he thinks about me. And then I saw that there was a more global issue there, and it was my need for appreciation and approval. And I did several rounds on my need for appreciation and approval. And the next day, actually, I was at a Qigong workshop with about 30 people, and I'm standing around, we're waiting for the workshop to start, and I'm just enjoying people, and I noticed there was something that was missing. And what was missing was this very subtle posturing I do to look good. It's just a posturing thing. You know, it comes out in how I talk, but it's just the way I hold myself, you know? It's about being included and accepted and appreciated. And I noticed that I wasn't running that day. I was just enjoying the people. There was just, again, the spaciousness there. And I've had to revisit that issue a few times with the EFT, but it doesn't run me anymore. And spaciousness is a lot more enjoyable than worrying about what people think and whether they're going to appreciate and approve of you. Because some will and some won't. Mm-hmm.